Okay, last time we checked how to ignore certain directories and how to allow certain directories. But this time we're gonna filter files by extension, MP4, JSON, or any other extensions. So the entries have extension method, so we can use that to only process those extensions we want, and skip files with extension we don't want. First, let's try to list MP4s. I'm going to use the file path vector. For the root, I'm gonna use the my videos directory. Okay, vector function. What is it? Okay, yeah, it gives me path, and what else? OS directory. Directory and error, and then returns error. Okay, main redeclared in this block. What's going on? Okay, I think I have the reason I probably have is because of this. I have another file that has main function. Okay. Let me just do some stuff so it doesn't recognize it. Maybe it works or something. Okay, it works. Okay, now we check so D info. Okay, let's see. Maybe let's get the info from the D info. Get info. Info probably has the extension. It does not. Where can I get extension if I have dir entry in Go? Okay, file path as extension property that takes dir name. So file path next and takes the name. So let's just print all of this real quick. What is it? Return string, so we can print it. fmt print ln, and run it. Go run. All right, so we got some extensions. Let's create a map of allowed ext, which is a map of string returns bool. Let's mp. Okay. mkv true. mp4 true. If file path ext d name allowed ext, then fmt print ln path. So this should already give us the full path of the files that end with mkv or mp4. Okay, there are some errors. Invalid app cannot after type string bool. This, what's going on? Okay. Let's say return nil. What's wrong? Dname should be sheet. And allowed ext allowed ext maps access syntax. Allowed is a map, not a function. So sheet. So it's not a function, so that syntax is wrong. Okay, what is this? Cool. Now it should work. Yeah. Already works. Let's print the name. Okay, we were able to quickly filter only mkv and mp4. So I'm gonna ask if this is good enough approach. Is this good approach, or is there a better way? This is totally valid and already a decent Go-ish approach. So extension filtering like this is cheap, but if you implement, you should check error. It's a permission issue or your Kaba still runs with bad state. Skip directory. Right now directories also go through file path X, usually armless, but wasted work. Case sensitivity on Windows are effectively the same file type, but your map won't match mp4. So ChatGPT suggested me to handle error and skip dir, so we don't want to perform anything on a directory. Also, if we get the extension name, we should lower it. We should try to get the lowercase version of it, and then yep. So why is this instead of mp instead of mp4 true, you do mp4, what is this? Allowed extension, mkv and mp. So it's using struct mp and empty struct. Why? Because you don't care about true false, you only care if key exists. Saves a tiny bit of memory and is idiomatic go. If performance giga nerd mode, walking C drive, extension check first is fine, but directory skipping matters more, like ignoring okay, skip directory. That saves way more time than map versus bull macro optimization. Your current extension filtering logic itself is already good though. The real gains come from pruning folders, not changing this map lookup. So this works, but since we are only interested in whether a key exists in a map, the idiomatic approach is just using empty struct for whatever reason, right? This does not improve that much performance though, but we are getting an error, which is crazy. Okay, this is okay. Now this is weird, so we can't just use the if statement. The whole thing, the logic depended on this returning true. So how do you check? So allowed extension okay, allowed extension, we get a struct, right? We get a struct, but so let me just, so allowed ext, if we pass the name, allowed extension, we are using the same thing, but why is this not working? Allowed extension map index expression of type struct is not used. What's wrong? This is checking if the entire file name exists as a key in your map contains, but the name. Yeah, dude. Cool. Okay. File path next the name, but that also doesn't work. So basically, allowed action found, you need to extract the extension. Still doesn't work. Technically it does work, but not in the way you think. It just looks up the value and then throws it away for what is it? Are we supposed to use this shit? Okay, dude, the compiler error is just really hard to understand, bro. Like, what is this error? Okay, map index expression of type struct is not used. Is not used. God damn it. I thought this was an error. This is not used error or something. Okay. What does it return? Okay. What does it return? I don't know, dude. Like, what is it return? I guess it returns a value and okay. So if okay, fmt print ln the name. So it should do the same thing, right? Hopefully. Yeah, it does the same thing. So the only thing we did is instead of storing Boolean value, we are just storing struct, and we are calling we're getting the value, and we're throwing away the value, and okay, which is a bool. I don't know. So accessing a map gives you value and whether it was succeeded or not or something. So that's pretty much it. Filter files by extension mp4 JSON. Okay, we checked allowed extension. Let's see. Another thing is dname file extension. It could be, let's see, let's just normalize this. Next, ChatGPT says it could be like this mp4 sometimes. So we're just gonna lowercase it, string start to lower, and that's pretty much it. We just use it. This should work the same way. Okay. Let's just save it. So we checked this last time and we're pretty much done with this. How to filter by extensions. Go. Let's run it on a book folder. I have a book folder and it contains PDFs. So I'm gonna run it on there. All right, let's run it on the books folder. And here I'm looking for PDF, EPUB. Let's see. What other doc extension should I use here? Okay, these are the extension I probably want to use. So PDF, EPUB, Mobi, I don't even know all of this shit. So let's run it. Okay, can't really see clearly. All right, so anyway, if you are like, let's say cd mm, cd books, so what we are doing is just filtering PDFs and other goofy shit, right? If you're in terminal or using bash or powershell, you can easily do that by using recurse or okay, shit, my bad, recurse and something that ends in PDF. So we did the same thing, but we used PowerShell. We didn't have to write any code though. Although one problem is that when we do it like this, it only takes one pattern. Although you can use which, where, or something. Cool. So that is filter files by extension. Pretty common if you want to process videos, all videos in a folder or something. Okay, now let's check out path handling. All right, let's look at path handling. So how do we join paths safely? Let's ask ChatGPT how to join paths safely in Go. For file system paths, that's the safe Go way. File path join root books novel PDF. So joins all of this. On Windows, it gives us a this string. On Linux and Mac OS, uses this string. So yeah, different operating systems, um, you know, expect different file path or something. Go handles the write separator automatically. Why not do this? Root like this or this, because breaks cross platform, double slashes happen, weird cleanup issues. Go fixes it happily, uh, fixes it nicely. So even if we have double slashes, uh, file path join automatically fixes it. Joining multiple parts, so it can join multiple parts. If you're building URLs, not files, use path join, not file path join. Web URLs path join, different goblins, same name. In your walkdir case, if you want output file path somewhere else, output dir the name. That's the idiomatic move. Join path safely. Let's take a note. Join path safely. Bruh. Wait a minute, my so my my custom CSS style is wrong for this. Need to fix it real quick. All right, cool. Let's go here. I'm gonna delete everything and keep root. Now let's add some, let's construct some paths. File path, what is it tag? File path join root, and let's say books downloaded good or something. What is it return? Just return string. So we can just print it, print ln go mod file path return any. Okay, copy path, let's see. Okay, so automatically constructed the path. Now if I add this goofy shit, let's add another goofy. Can it still work? Does it still work? Yep, it still works. So even if you add extra slashes, for whatever reason, it still works. So it basically joins it. Let's use C. Oh, like this. I forgot to add slash. Let's see if it does it correctly. Nope, it did not. So I would add this manually. Okay. I had to escape the slash, so that's why I'm using 2 slashes. Okay, this is good. Let's see, let's say this returns file path, and that is the package name. So file path with capital T, capital P, to make it even more unique, so it doesn't collide with the file path package. I use that. So what is this? Variable but returns 2. So it returns 2 integer. Wait, okay. We're not supposed to use println. Okay, let's see if we can create this. We learned how to create a file, but we didn't learn how to create a folder. So I'm just gonna create a file. Always create my path. So download good txt, so it should be at the root, but I don't want that in the root. So let's use books. All right, it should create a downloaded good txt all these folders. Cool. Now we go to books important. Where's the downloaded? It did not create it. It did not create the download folder. It didn't create the folders. Oh, it creates the file only, not parent directories. You gave it, if download good doesn't exist, boom, fail. Create folders first. Make dir all. Create folders first. Make mk dir all file path dir my file path os mode perm. What happens here? Gets parent folder, returns books downloaded good, creates all missing folders, books downloaded good if they already exist, no problem. Also, your file name is cursed. You wrote txt, that means your file name is literally .txt, that's not some file txt, that's a file named .txt, probably meant my book txt. So this is how you create a missing directories or something. So create missing directories and file text file in one go. So first we need to get the parent folder. To get the parent folder, let's just call this parent folder. We need to use file path dir and pass my file path, and then we need to pass this to file path mk or something. Oh, it's not file path mk dir all, it's os mk dir all text parent folder how string want string or something. What is this? OS mode perm. It needs OS mode perm. OS mode perm. So what is it return? It returns error, so we're not going to care about that. File path, okay. My file txt. OS create my file path. So all the folders exist, so it should be able to create the txt file. Boom, let's go. Let's go. Downloaded. Good. My file txt. So we created a complex looking path and we used a file path dir to get the parent directory, and we used os mk dir all to create missing directories, and then we use create to create the txt file. This create method does not create nested folder. It only just creates the my file txt. Probably returns error if it doesn't exist, right? Let's see. Let's log the error. Probably returns the error. OS file. So we're not gonna bother with that. And say bad. fm. Let's handle error. If error not nil, then fmt print ln, then error. Let's say error message. error. Missing before new line in what the hell? Missing comma before new line in composite literal. What is going on, dude? Shit. Quick fix. So if error nil printer, what? Did I miss if or something? Oh, so let's run it. It should give us the error message. Open, the system cannot find the path specified. Boom, bruh. That's why it failed. And then you handle the error by creating the path here and then retrying it. All right, we're done with that. Done with join path safely. Get current working directory. How do we get? Use OS get WD, get working directory. CWD, current working directory, or error, panic error. Common use with file path JSON, join. Quick one-liner if you are being lazy. Print ln os get wd, but that prints dir error, so usually not what you want. Difference from executable path. Where program is being run from, if terminal is in C projects, then OS get WD returns C project, C drive project. If you want where the executable lists, different Goblin, OS executables, expath, xcpath, print that. So we got two. Depending on what path you want, you need to use different things. If you want to know where the script is running, you want to use the OS get WD. If you want to know where the executable is, you want to use OS executable. So after we are done with the script, we can build Go executable. So we can launch the Go program using the executable. So currently we're just using Go run dot. It probably creates the executable somewhere, but we don't know where. So pretty easy. Getting working directory. OS get WD or something. So this returns dir and error. So let's get the dir and drop the error and print the dir, println dir. So the directory the script is running is Golang basics. Cool. And what if we call OS executable? Wait a minute. Executable expath gives us xpath, and let's run it. It should be on the same directory. Nope, the executable is in here. Update a local temp go build b001xc learning go xc. Cool. So why would you use it? You probably get the working directory and use the join method to create some folders and files, right? You pair it with the join method basically, I think. Pretty simple stuff. Get absolute path. We have we have come across this earlier. Remember though, file walkdir already gives you absolute path in for the callback function. So let's say usually, right, you open a file. It depends. You can open a relative file. When you open a relative file, you can call file path apps and give it the file name basically, and it will give you the absolute path. Let's say I want to open hello txt. So os open probably open text hello text txt file. This probably returns a file and error. I can call file name file path apps. So what is the return? It returns string and error. So path println. So we're gonna print it. Pretty easy stuff, right? Should give us the absolute path. So there we go. It gave us the absolute path. So when you open a relative file, you can use the file path apps and get the absolute path. Sometimes sometimes you probably want to pass absolute path or it wouldn't work. So there's a file and you want to open it and it's not here in the relative, it's not here. So you already use the absolute path. All right, so I found a path. Let's see. I'm gonna use the backtick. Okay, so this is already an absolute path and I'm passing the absolute path. File name, what is it? File name probably gives me this, right? Script txt. Let's see what we get. Okay, cool. Let's also print fmt println file name. Okay, file name and absolute path are both same. So what about, so we already came across another path base. Let's give it file name. So the base is just the file name basically. So if we have base, let's say base, probably returns an error or something. If we use the base like this, absolute path base, cannot use. Okay, this returns an integer. What is this? Oh, file path base only returns one value. Okay, so the base is just the file name, and we're passing the file name to absolute abs method. What do we get? So I don't have any printing statement, and the only printing statement is the path. And cool. I was not expecting this. So what I was I probably like, how the hell does it know if you just give it the file name? How the hell does it know if I just give it the file name? Go path goblin behavior, let's unpack it. Base, suppose script txt, then base is script txt. So now you lost the folder info completely. File path app says, oh, you gave me a relative path, let me resolve it relative to the current working directory. Wait a minute, bro. Yeah, dude. This is a relative directory. So you gave me a relative path, let me resolve it relative to the current working directory. So if your program is running in this go turns script txt2, it is not remembering the original path. You destroyed that here. Base only keeps the file name, nothing else. If you want original absolute path, you already had it, file name, because OS open stores the path you used. If you want canonical absolute path, do file path apps file name. So yeah, if we just use the file name, it just resolves it using the current working directory, that absolute path. Just use the file path apps method. Extract file name from path. Pretty easy. Just use the base. Just use the file path base. Extract extension, pretty easy. So let's say I got a file file path probably has extension method, I think, and this takes a path. So file name, and let's call this ext and print the extension. So txt. One thing to note though, when you ask for the extension, you also get the dot, so that can screw you over. So use the file path ext method. Get parent directory. This is kind of, I don't know how to do this, so let's ask ChatGPT. How to get parent directory from a path? Oh, we did use it, right? We did use it when we created missing folders. All right, so you can use file path dir and pass in the string, the file absolute path string. This gives the parent dir. So the parent dir is essentially strips away the file name and gives you the remaining folder thingy, folder name. So yeah, get parent directory, use file path dir. Normalize paths for Windows, Linux. The join method already does it, but oh, file path clean, that's the normalize this path goblin. So you got some goofy looking path and you call clean method passing that path, and boom. So clean, normalize the path syntax, make absolute, safely draw combined paths, file path to slash, force this from slash, convert to OS separator. So use join path safely, use file path join, get working directory, OS get WD. Okay, let's see if that's the right OS get WD. So it's a lowercase. Get absolute path, file path apps. Extract file name from path, file path, ext file.name or something. Extract, okay, extract file name from path. Okay, that's wrong. Base, use base. File path ext file.name, get parent directory, file path dir. Normalize path for Windows, file path clean. Alright, that's pretty much path handling. Let's look at copy, move, delete files. Basic file management scripting. Alright, let's start with copying a file. How to copy file in Go. Go has no built-in OS copy because Go likes suffering. Standard ways: open source, create destination, IO copy. Alright, so since Go has no copy method, we need to create our own function. So what we are trying to do is essentially create our own function that takes in source and destination, and we open source and we create the destination file. If the destination contains folders, nested folders, if those don't exist, we need to create those folders. And then we use iOS OS copy. That's pretty much it, I think. Let's start with creating the function. Func copy file, text, source, and dest. Okay, we need to open the source. OS open source file error not null, then return error. Okay, keep forgetting the if. Okay, now we need to take the destination. Destination might as well look like C drive, something like download. I mean, let's go with book and bad, and let's say test txt. So this could be the destination. So we need to create the nested folders. So let's get the destination. Let's use os mk dir all. This takes the parent directory, takes the directory and creates everything. So file path dir, and let's get the destination. And also this needs perm os mode perm. Okay, this returns an error. So if, okay, we already have error. Okay, if error not null, then return error. So this creates all the folders. Now we are ready to create the file. We are creating just a file. We are not copying yet. So os create file. Why does the create file exist? Where create file? Okay, there's no create file, there's open file. This open file takes the destination and some flags. This flag creates it if there's a like overwrites the content. It's a read only, and then this is the permission. Let's create it. OS open file takes the destination and it takes some flags. So OS create OS trunk OS dot read only, and for the permission OS info mode. So we are using the info same permission as the copying file. So file, let's get the info from the file info error file info. File, what method does this have? Okay, it probably has a stat method, and that stat method returns info and error. Info error, if error return error, info mode. So this destination, the file we are creating, has the same permission as the file we are copying. Now it returns a file and error. So let's call this dest, but we will be shadowing. Let's call dest path. Let's call this source src path. This also returns error. Handle the error. Now we copy it. We need to use IO copy, dest and source. So it just takes file object. Also, we need to close all these files. So source calling source path is wrong because it's a file object. So let's call this file. Also close the files differ src file close differ dest file close os copy. Where is it? Os copy fs. Wait a minute. OS copy s doesn't. Okay, it is IO copy. My bad. IO copy text src file dest file and what is this? Undefined IO. We need to import it. Copy returns return some sort of data and error. So we ignore that. We only get the error, and if we handle the error basically here. All right, we are pretty much done. Let's test this. Copy file. Copy file. So text the source. Let's take this. And the destination. For the destination, let's use OSP get, probably this. What does it return? Yeah. Present working directory is OS get wd and pwd. What is this? One variable, but we get another. Cool. So currently we don't have the script txt. I am copying the script txt to my present directory, which is basically this folder. It should end up here if I run this. Let's go. Shit. So did it copy that file? What's going on? Copy file. Should check error return from voice before differing. Oh. Kind of. We're checking so many errors, bro. Like, what is going on? All right. I don't see it. What's wrong? A few things are cooked here. You passed a directory as destination. Uh, PWD is something like my app. That's a folder, but your copy file expects a file path. You need script.txt. Copy arguments are backwards. You wrote source file, dest file, but IO copy is destination source, so it should be dest file, source file. Error check after OS open missing. You wrote open stat if open fails. SRC file is nil and stat explodes need right after opening it. Fixed Orson. Okay. Let's copy a check and paste it here. Cool. Also, let's swap it. Destination file, source file. Cool. What else did we miss? And let's just use the join method, like file path join, and let's use the pwd and goofy txt. Now it should work, bruh. There we go. Goof txt. That's pretty much it, guys. We did it. Let's go. But make sure to add something. Let's just return error. Let's see what kind of error we get if we just pass a directory. Let's see. Okay, we already get basics as a directory. We already get a helpful message. So how do you handle it? Well, you pass a file, bro. So you probably want something like this in your file utility all the time because Go does not have it, bruh. All right, I'm gonna stop here. Next, we're gonna look at rename file, move file, delete directories, and all of this stuff in the next video. Okay, in this video, we're gonna look at how to rename a file. Okay, let's start with asking ChatGPT how to rename a file in Go. So use OS rename, simple as that. So we got a whole name and new name, rename, old name, new name. If error, rename failed, return, renamed successfully. So renaming is pretty easy, works for files and directories. If new name already exists, behavior depends on OS, usually replaces often errors. Can also move plus rename if you give a new path. So rename is also used to move files, save version, check if source is actually a file. Okay, so old, new, old path, we are checking the stat of that old path. If it's a directory and then not a path. Then old path, new path, return. One annoying Windows thing, if source and destination are on a different drives, can fail, then you gotta copy plus delete instead. So if they're on different drives, it can fail. So it's pretty easy. Looks like it's pretty easy, right? Right, so I've got a hello txt. Let's say hello world. So OS rename. If I give with the hello txt, it's gonna result to my like relatively. So it's gonna find where the script is running and picks up the hello txt. I'm gonna rename it to I txt. So this returns error. So if error, okay, wait a minute, nil fmt. So we just say rename failed for, okay. Old path hello txt old path, and then we use old path. Cool. Yeah, it did it. It renamed it. Okay, I've got a file readme txt on somewhere. So I'm gonna rename it. Let's see. Okay. It's called readme txt. So I'm gonna rename it to hi.txt. Let's see if it renames it correctly. Okay. What the hell? I don't see it. Shit. It just replaced my text here. So it just basically moved the file. So let's see. Let's get the parent dir file path dir old path. Let's use file path join parent dir, and let's also let's use hi hello txt. So the old currently it's in here like hi txt. So I want to move it back to where it was. So take the hi txt from here and move it to where it was. And so if I run it, it should create hello txt in this directory. So I am taking the hi file here and moving it to this directory and calling it hello txt. Cool. There we go. It worked. Now let's try moving this from one drive to another drive. So this is in the C drive. So I want to move it to this drive, to the G drive. So the old path is that. So I'm gonna use the old path, and the new path is this. The new path is this. The file name is already hello. So let's say so this is the old path, and the new path is on another directory, another drive. So it should fail because, well, it can't move from one drive to another. So yeah, rename failed for backend hello txt. So the only thing we can do if we want to move from one drive to another is copy. So yeah, let's try that. File utils, I have a copy file that takes source, which in our case is old path, and the new path is this. Hopefully this join returns a string. Let's see. comment that out, and let's get the error and handle the error. Copying failed for old path. This should succeed. Yep, it succeeded. There we go. We copied it. We did not move it. We did not rename it. We just copied it, basically. So if you can't just rename, so rename is basically like moving file, I think. You can rename it. You can use it to move file. It works fine if it's on the same drive, but different drives is a different story. Can we rename directories? Rename directories to just not file. Rename old folder, new folder. Move plus rename directory to. Rename old folder, new folder. Check if it's actually directory. Windows can fail, destination already exist, destination already exists, folder is open, locked by another process moving across drive. So yeah, same function files, and there's both. GoDev said one function for all that shit. All right, let's try. Let me create a folder. Let's call this test. I'm gonna rename this test folder to something different. So it is just called test, and I'm gonna call this not test. Let's go. This garbage, bro. Okay, we renamed it. Now let's move that to, let's see, downloaded. So let's rename that to, so essentially not test. So all right, I'm trying to move not test to folder inside downloaded. So not test, let's put not test here. So it should move not test to here, right? Also let's put this test file here. All right, let's go. Cool. There we go. It even created that folder. I don't know if it created or moved it. I don't know, but yeah, it works. So we learned how to rename file and directory. We can use the rename to move files too. So rename. Let's, how do you move file? Go. Moving file is literally the same as rename. If it's on the same drive, rename. That does move it, and rename if name changes. Different drives, like we said, it's not possible, can fail. Can fail with something like invalid cross device link, and then you gotta copy and delete. So we gotta move file. So, a custom function, a move files, takes the source and destination, returns an error. Try simple rename first. If it fails, if okay, if it succeeds, we just continue return, do nothing, fallback, copy. So we open the source file and handle the error, close the file. We create that file. I mean, also we ChatGPT is not showing here, but we need to create the directories for the destination if it doesn't exist. Error handling and closing it, and use the IO copy, making sure putting the destination and source at the end, and error handling. Dest file sync. What the hell is this? I don't know this. Error handling. Remove source, delete original. So deleting is calling remove. So if destination folder might not exist, okay, we know that, bruh. We got that, bruh. But what is this? What is this? Dest file sync basically tells the OS, yo, stop pretending. Actually, write this shit to disk now. Normally, when you do IO copy, the data often goes into buffers cache first, not guaranteed to be physically on disk. Yeah? Sync forces that buffer data plus file metadata to flush to disk. Why use it? Imagine this: copy files. Yeah, bro, got it, but still in memory cache. Power goes out, file is corrupted or incomplete. Sync reduces that risk. There's a tiny chance source gets deleted before destination is fully committed. IO copy. With it, copy, dest file sync, remove the source safer. Do you always need it? Now for casual script, usually fine. Copy and then remove. For don't lose my file situation, use sync. Also note, therefore dest file close. Close already flushes buffers too, but sync is stronger. It asks OS to push to disk, not just close the file handle. There's some complicated shit going on here. So moving. Let's create a node on this. Move files. References. Let's create what's that? Dest file sync. So basically file sync. File sync. So the moving file is just easy as renaming it, But let's rewrite the moving function, func move file. So it takes source and dest, both string, return error. So first, let's try renaming it. Rename source and dest. As easy as that. This rename, yeah, it returns error. If error nil, if it's fine, we just return nil and call it a day. Okay. So rename fails for some reason. Then we try copying it. To copy it, we need to open source and destination file. So let's open source, OS, open or something, open src, gives us file and error. Also, let's defer file, close. Now what we do? Let's call file stat, get info and error. We need the info to get to the read write permission. Let's try opening the destination file. Now OS, open file, dest. Okay, but first, before we open, we need to get the parent dir of the dest file path dir, and let's use dest, and let's call OS make dir all parent dir. Now we have all the necessary directories created and ready to go. For the flag, use create OS dot o okay, trunk, so replaces it, and then get info mode. OS mode perm. What is it return? The defined file mode bits are the most significant bits of file mode. The 9 standard Unix permission, the value of these bits should be considered a part of the public API and may be used in wire protocols. Wait a minute, what is this? This is 511. What's this? This is Ghost Archive for full permissions. Usually see it in stuff like create this folder and give max permission allowed. So why use more cleaner? This mostly doesn't matter much because uses not Unix more bits. Go still accepts it, but kind of goes cute. why shouldn't the rest of the bits have less permission? Because others mean literally everyone else on the system. If you do owner read write execute, group read write execute, everyone else read, so any random user on that machine can mess with it. It's common for folders. Okay, 7. Okay, owner read write execute can enter read but not modify. Others read execute for directory list. R is to list, create, delete with. Why not? Because then everybody files are different. Common files permission. So why does exist then? It's just a constant for max per ND for temp folders are when you don't care. But in real code, people usually choose specific permission. Common mecter. Give only what's needed. So we probably want to use this, right? 7. So everybody else I can execute it. Everybody else cannot execute it. So the 0, it just means it's a octal notation or whatever. This is not a decimal. Where are we? What are we trying to do? So this gives us file. Let's call this dest file. Also error. If error return error. Okay. Now we copy. IO copy. Starts with the destination file and the file. Let's call this a source file. Okay, now we copied it, right? This should copy the files, but we got one more thing. We can delete the source if we copied it. So hopefully, copy. Does it return error? Let's see. What does it return? Some junk. We want to ignore that. If error is nil, then let's say empty print ln moved file successfully. If error failed moving. Okay. We can then remove src source file. This takes a string. So we need to remove the original file which we get, which is the path. The returned file, this is a file object. We cannot pass it. We can call dest file sync if we want it. What it does is a kind of a mystery. I don't understand it. I mean, let's ask it again. And what's this? What's this? I don't understand it. If I copy it, it should copy here, right? This is one of those OS slides. Let me explain. When you do copy dest file, source file, you think file copied, done. But what actually happens in more like Go gives data to the OS puts it in RAM cache or buffer. OS says, yeah, bro, I got it. Later, it writes to the physical disk. So IO copy often means copy to the OS, not necessarily to disk right this second. So when this is done executing, this not necessarily means it's copied and we can safely delete it. No, it's not done. After it's executed, it's not actually copied. It's in the RAM or something. Imagine copying a 5 GB file without buffering, write tiny chunk, wait for disk, write next chunk, slow SL. With buffering, OS collects a bunch in RAM, says keep going, writes efficiently later, that's faster. Then what does sync do? Now don't wait later, flush everything to the actual disk now. It forces the OS cache to commit. Why should you care? Now, okay, so we copy it and we remove the source file. Now suppose copy went to RAM cache, power dies, source already deleted, destination incomplete, you just got cooked. So this is much safer if we use the sync. Call sync on the destination file. Safer because disk says, yep, physically return, but doesn't close do that? Yeah, kinda. Close flushes file, buffers, and tells OS you're done, but OS may still keep stuff in cache for a bit. Sync is stronger. I am done. Write it now, bruh. Real life analogy. Without sync, you handed your homework to your friend and he says, I'll submit it later. With sync, you stand there and watch him put it on the teacher's desk. Goofy analogy, but so essentially, yeah, this just makes sure that our shit doesn't, get deleted, goes to some place when the power goes out. So yep, make sure you write it to the disk, bruh, basically, and then always removes the file and we should be done, right? Okay, we did not handle the error, so returns error. Only one error, right? Then return. We I mean, if we don't put the return here, it's gonna remove it, bro. And then we're cooked. So sync, remove, we're done. So move files, let's see. Greet. I'm gonna copy this and paste it, cut and paste to our library functions. Now, in this garbaggio package, main func main. All right, let's create another folder. Let's call this Goofy. Okay. File utils as move file, tags Goofy, and the destination is Goofy. If error, handle the error, please. fmt println. All right. Cool. That just means we moved it. Cool. Everything is moved. Now, let's take this Goofy and move it to another directory. Another drive, basically, right? So this is in C drive. Let's move this to G drive. So when we move it, this this folder should be gone, and it should magically appear in our Goofy G drive. Let's go. Failed moving. Failed moving. Read downloaded Goofy incorrect function. What's this? Okay. There's a Goofy file. Shit. All right. Move file. Do we have the destination? We created the destination folder, right? Mkdir file path destination. We got everything. But so there was like C books downloaded Goofy incorrect function. Let's run it. Failed moving incorrect function. Failed moving. What? Okay. This is the error probably. Copy dest file, source file. So this is we are here. Failed moving says incorrect function. What's wrong? That error screaming you passed a directory, not a file. Source file, readable file, dest file, writable file, but your source looks like a folder, and Windows trying to read a directory like a file often gives incorrect function. Windows error messages be clowny. So check before copying. Info is directory. It's a directory, not a file. Why it happens? You probably did. Open can open directories too. That's the sneaky part. But then tries to read bytes from the directory. What the hell is this incorrect function? Also, your error handling can be cleaner. Instead of what am I doing? So I'm checking for the success and failure. This guy failed moving, moved file successfully. If you want to move directories, it's the wrong tool. You need to walk files recursively or use if it's the same drive. So I can't move folders across directories. What is going on, dude? I think we did it. Okay, copying is not so I can't move. How do I move folders across drives on the same file system? For folders across drives, you gotta create a destination folder, walk source folder, recursively copy each file, recreate subfolders, delete source after success, basically copy tree, remove tree. Bruh, moment. Why not just on the folder? Because a folder isn't file bytes, it's folder files, another folder. So you gotta walk the tree and copy each file individually. Remove source happens after copy succeeds. If copy dies halfway, source stays there, good, but destination may be partial. That's normal unless you build rollback logic like a GigaChad. Nope, I'm not GigaChad, bruh. So everything renaming and copying is pretty easy if we are doing it on the same drive. It gets complicated if it's on a different drive. All right, so we're gonna try to copy files across different drives. For that, we're gonna need the copy file helper function. This is something we already know, so let's just check this out and let's not bother writing it. So copy file, we've been using source dest, but the new thing is the mode, file mode. So this is the permission. So we accept it from outside. Mode, what's this? Mode is not a permission. I don't know what mode is. Anyway, we are accepting the mode. What is file mode? A file mode represents the file's mode and permission bits. The bits have the, okay. All right, so the copy file mode is for the files, and the mode we are using for the directory is 755. Okay, so we pretty much like open the source file handle the error, close it, and we create the directories in the destination path. We get the parent path and we create all the nested folders. If it fails, we return it, and then we try to create the file by using open file. So this gives us the file handle, and then if it errors out, we close it, handle it, defer, close. Obviously this is not running after we open it. It's gonna run after everything. So defer is pretty much just like that. It runs after everything. Now we try to copy destination source file. So destination goes first, source file goes second. And then we call dest file sync. We are not calling remove source. OS remove source, we're not calling that here. So that's pretty much what we've been doing, right? Okay, let's call this func move dir. Okay, let's look at the implementation details for this. Move dir takes the source and destination string and error. So we get the info object, file info object of the source path, enter the error. If it's not a directory, we just say this is not a directory. We return an error message and pretty much return it, because this function can only move folders. And then we try to use the rename. If it's on the same drive, rename will work and it will move source folder to destination folder easily. Okay, now we take the destination, which create root destination. So we get the destination and create all the folders. If handle the error. Now this is we are using different function, different method. We last time we checked out walk dir, but this time we are using walk. This gives us info, file info, instead of dir entry. So if we got any error, we return it. So file path rel. So this takes a target and some sort of like a destination or something, strips away some target from base or something. Okay, let's start writing it. Source dest string error return nil. Source destination, what we do? First we try to rename it, right? OS rename source. Oh yeah, first we need to check if it's a directory. Open src. We open the directory, we get file object src file and error. Although it's a folder, we can still open it. If error just some common error handling. And now src file stat info error if info is there. This is not true. If it's not a directory, return we need to return an error. So how do we return an error? New error. Okay, error new. Cool. Text. This ain't directory. Okay. Now try renaming it. Rename src. Okay, first os mk dir all test mode this. Cool. This returns error. Okay, so if we got error, handle the error. So essentially we are creating all the folders, all the necessary folders for the destination, so we can just call rename. If the necessary folders doesn't exist, it can fail, right? Rename and call the destination. So for normal files, this is gonna work. Folders on the same directory, fine, works. Folders on the same directory can be easily moved using rename. Okay, rename. If it's not successful, we need although we get an error, we don't want to return and quit here. So if error we just print some line saying folders aren't in the same direct. Okay, now we need to prepare it. Prepare to walk. File path walk takes a root. So src function. Cool. Return nil. So now if it's a directory, we need to call so info is directory. If it's a directory, what do we do? We need to call os make dir all shit. Okay, first of all, handle the error. So I'm not gonna copy files. We're gonna just pretend we're gonna run a demo run, going through how it will loop through all this garbage. So we need a folder that contains multiple folders and shit and files. Let's do that. Let's create test and cd, let's say dir test. Shit, what is this? Okay, dir. We got test. Okay. I have a custom function that can create files like test1. Hopefully test2. Can it create? Okay, it created all these folders. Nice. Let's say test1, test the txt, test 1, test 2 txt. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to create multiple folders like this. Create multiple folders with txt files. Use cool folder names and file names. Use my function. Did not use my function, but let's see. Remove item. Test. Now we don't have the test, and we got some bullshit copied from ChatGPT. There. Okay. Let's go to, this is Cyberden. The recurse. How do we print everything, man? How do we print everything? Oops. How do I print every file in there? Okay, recurse file. Cool. What the hell? Print only file names. Something wrong. It did not recurse it. cd cyberden dir cd vault dir. What the hell? In any case, let's not be that guy. So it already listed everything when we did dir. When we did dir cd cyberden dir, when we did that, and recurse, when we did that, it found the directory, it found all the text. That's pretty much it, and that's everything in the cyberden folder. Okay, so we need to call move the cyberden folder to somewhere. So where the hell? Oh shit, we wrote it in here. Let's cut and paste it. Hopefully we got everything. Still more errors. Okay, we got another error. Fs. So we handle the error. Let's walk fmt print ln. So let's just print everything. Info name. So we should get the directory name, file name, everything when we walk it. Let's call move dir cyberden to cyberden. Okay. So, yep. Where is it? What? Wait a minute. So this part shouldn't even doesn't even run. I think it runs. It doesn't even return errors or anything. But this doesn't run. It does run. It's kind of like error out, and then it starts this. So let's say fmt print ln entered walk. Let's run it. Okay, folders aren't in the same directory. Okay, entered walk, cyberden, entered walk, ghost log, entered walk, vault, entered walk, access codes. So it got the cyberden, that's a directory, and the text, that's a file, directory, text. So let's just remove this. Now what do we do? So what's the path? The path. So let's print out the path. Let's print just the path. So this should give us the path of the source directory, right? So we get the cyberden, ghost log, vault, all of this. So let's remove the cyberden part from all of this. We can use file path rel src and path. Rel returns string, trimmed path error. Okay, now let's look at it. Now we got this a dot because the target and the base or whatever is the same, and we got ghost log, a file, and vault access course. So we need to join it. What happens when we join this destination? What happens when I join destination with dot? Do I get the destination? Basically, if you do join dot, the dot means current directory related to no op. So go cleans it up and you just get a destination. Why doesn't just glue strings together? It normalizes. Path means inside test, current directory, same thing. So pretty much, so now we are pretty much creating folders. So let's say, trimmed path. So if it's a dot, we don't even need to create the directory and the destination. So what do we do? Target. What if you create dot using mkdir? If you do there, nothing dramatic happens. What means current directory? So basically, here's create the directory I'm already standing in. Is special. If directory doesn't exist, creates it. If directory already exists, no error, just chill. Usually just returns nil and output nil. Okay, no new folder called dot, it gets created. That's a relief because it's not a little folder name in that context. Means current directory test. Okay, so we can we're fine if we create that folder. So we got trimmed path So we need to create folders. So let's see, mk make dir all trim. Okay, let's join dest. Okay, file path join dest trimmed path make dir all this text this. Cool. So now we are fine. Error handling. Okay, make dir all returns error, handle it, bruh. So we can, okay, we need to check if info is dir. If it's a directory, go ahead, create it. If it's a directory, go ahead, create it. Now we have our files, so we can call copy file. We can call copy file. Basically we need to call path and the destination. Where did we call it? Do we need a trimmed path? Yeah, let's call path file path join destination and path, I think, and then mode is whatever mode, info mode is this. So I'm copying the path, so this gives me the path, right? Let's print let's fmt print ln path sheet destination path. So we only need this. Cool. Before I copy that, we're gonna run it to see what is going on. Also, let's get rid of println's trimmed path, get rid of that. Okay, cool. Path is cyberden. Destination is this. Path is ghost text log. Destination is ghost and cyberden shit. Path is vault. Creates a vault. Bruh, what to? Duplicating the root folder somewhere. Your output says source cyberden, destination cyberden, path cyberden, target cyberden. Bruh, that means your rel is probably becoming cyberden instead of, okay, I'm doing like here destination path. Nah. we need to use trimmed path. Cool. Path Cyberdan, destination Cyberdan, cool, works. Path Cyberdan, ghost log, Cyberdan ghost log, vault, cool. Everything works. Trimmed path. So is this what it called? Target. So path, join destination, relative. Okay, that's pretty much what we did. That's pretty much what we did, bruh. So should work. Copy file, station returns an error. This whole thing returns error. If error, return error. Then we can call, let's see, where do we call sync? Okay, I think we're calling the sync here, dest file sync, after copying the file. So here we don't even need to call sync, copy files, it copies everything. Delete source after successful copy. After everything is done, we can call remove all. So remove only removes one thing, or remove all removes everything inside of a folder or something. So this is a very complicated file function. So move directory. It takes source and destination and returns error. We open the source file just to check if it's a directory. We open source, handle error, and we get the info object. We are checking, is this directory? If it's not a directory, we just immediately return error and close the function, end the function. And then we create all the directories for the destination. And then we use the rename. If it gets the error, we say folders aren't in the same directory, and then we try walking it, copying files. So we walk dir. Uses the info object instead. Error handling. We get the relative path just so we can join a destination with some garbage. And then we make all the directories we need on the destination folder. It's a directory, and then we copy files. Pretty much. And copy file is this. copy file, well, you're gonna need to check out how we copied files. So essentially we are opening the file, closing the file, and calling mkdir on the destination, handling the error, and then we create the file. We create the destination file, handle the error, close the file, and then we call copy. We put the destination first and source last, handle the error, and then we call dest file sync. We call sync on the file. We're not removing the file here because we remove everything at the end after everything succeeds. So very complicated. Let's copy and paste this in our file utils package. Okay, let's test it. It would probably work. So this is the only thing that prints. Let's also, when we're done, by the time we end up here, everything worked fine and it moved files. Moved files successfully. Although I don't see this, it's still here, dude. So let's print ln. Okay, that's the wrong thing. fmt print ln error. So CyberDen is still here. It should have been. Open temp courses CyberDen is a directory. So we got an error. What's this error? This means somewhere in our code you did or worse. Open CyberDen, expecting a file, but the path is actually a directory. Oh, yeah, I did open a folder right here. I was told to open a file, but this is a folder in your move code. This usually happens begin handling. I need to get whether the file is a directory or not. Anyway, let's just copy this much easier. See, you already know if it's a directory with info is directory, but then right after that clonary file info mode, you call copy file for directories too. So far, CyberDen it does mkdir all. Okay, copy file, and then copy file does open on a directory. Boom. Return early far directories. Okay, return here info. Okay, where is it? Okay, here, make sure I'll return error. Shit. I need to stop doing this, bruh. Cool. Moved files successfully. The process cannot access the file because it is being processed by another file. What's this? Classic Windows file handle issue. This the file cannot access B means you were trying to delete, but something is open. You never close source file at the top. But so Windows like, bro, you can still get the folder open. I'm not deleting it. Then letter fails. Better yet, don't open it all. Yeah, dude. Okay, I forgot we can use OS stat to not even get to just get the stat, right? We're only interested in if it's a directory or not, so we can use OS stat and the path src. Cool. Now it should work fine. Cool. Moved file successfully, and we got a nil here. There's no error. And as far, yep, it did move everything. Bruh, that took ton of time. But with that, we know everything. We know how to move files. Pretty easy. If it's on the same directory, you just use the rename. If it's on a different directory, prepare to suffer. Delete directories. Delete file is pretty easy, just call remove. Delete directories, just call remove all. Create nested directories, pretty easy. Call mkdir all, os mkdir all or something. All right, so let's copy file. It's easy. OS rename file. Okay, copy file. You can, it's not copying exactly. You need to use the OS copy. For rename, OS rename. Move file, OS rename. So just manually walk 3, create dirs and move, copy files and delete the source folder after everything. Delete file is pretty easy, just os call remove. Delete directories, just use os remove all. Create nested directories. Os okay, dir all mkdir all. That's pretty much it for copying, moving, and deleting files.